The unique character that once defined individual homes seems to be fading away. However, all is not lost. There are still enchanting enclaves where the imagination flourishes. Today we're counting down the top 15 most unique houses in the world. Starting with number 15, the Beer Can House. The Beer Can House in Houston, Texas. It's an incredible example of individual creativity and eccentric recycling. It's located in the Rice Military neighborhood, and this unusual house began its development in 1968 when John Milkovich, a retired upholsterer for the Southern Pacific Railroad, started to use his decorative skills on the home he shared with his wife, Mary. His project started with simple landscaping, but not in the traditional sense. He hated mowing the grass, so he began by covering his lawn with concrete and metal pieces to turn it into a more manageable space. This was the first step towards changing things. It soon turned into a much larger project that would involve thousands upon thousands of beer cans. Milkovich, a self-professed beer enthusiast, saw some potential in the cans that would normally be thrown away and began collecting his own, as well as those from his friends and neighbors. Over the next 18 years, the Beer Can House became a reality as Milkovich covered every square inch of the exterior with beer cans, can tops, and other beer-related objects. The siding of the house is made of flattened beer cans, creating this shimmering walls that spark in the Texas sun, and the aluminum can tops strung together hang from the roof, creating a clinking sound as they move with the breeze. This is now considered an iconic piece of folk art, the Beer Can House. It's managed by the Orange Show Center for Visionary Art, which is an organization dedicated to preserving and promoting these environments. Visitors are welcome and greeted with the sight of over 50,000 beer cans that make up this home. That, as well as being an oddity in its own right, also acts as an inspiration for sustainable artistic practices. Number 14, the Heliodome in France. The Heliodome, which is near Strasbourg in France, is a clever, eco-friendly design that's technically known as a bioclimatic solar house concept. It was built in 2004, and it was conceived and designed by French cabinet maker and self-taught architect Eric Wasser, and is an example of how functional design can work in hand with natural energy efficiency. It was designed as a giant three-dimensional sundial set on an axis that's tilted in alignment with the Earth's position, similar to the axis of our planet. The structure's orientation is calculated to maximize light during the winter months while minimizing heat during the summer, turning the Heliodome into a passive solar building. The appearance of the Heliodome is as unusual as its underlying concept, with the shape resembling a cross between a sundial and a spacecraft, half hidden in the ground. The structure is made mainly from biodegradable and renewable materials, including wood and glass, and these too work towards its aim. Inside the Heliodome, it's designed to accommodate the daily and seasonal movements of the sun. The layout includes the living spaces that are placed to make the most of the sun's trajectory for optimal lighting. And this includes having the main living areas like the kitchen and living room located in areas that receive the most light during the day. It is a pretty radical approach to home design, but one that's led to the development of better approaches of how to use natural resources to our own advantage, reducing both the cost and environmental impact of maintaining comfortable conditions. Number 13, Casa de Pedra, Sao Paulo, Brazil. Casa de Pedra, which translates to mean stone house in English, is a unique home in Sao Paulo, Brazil. It was single-handedly built by Gustavo Silva da Conceição, a former construction worker from Bahia who moved to Sao Paulo in the late 60s. In the 1980s, he then decided to build a home that reflected his creativity and resourcefulness, and after finding a location, he began to transform the modest house that was already there into a sprawling structure, covered with stones, tiles, and thousands of objects, many of which are remnants and cast-offs from nearby construction sites. This ongoing project has taken more than 3 decades so far, and it continues to evolve, with Gustavo still adding to his creation. The exterior is covered with intricate stone mosaics and sculptures, while the interior is a labyrinth of rooms filled with vast collections of found objects, including broken ceramics, glass pieces, and mirrors. The house does look similar to a grotto, with its dark nooks and crannies being illuminated by light filtering through numerous cracks and crevices, creating a play of light and shadows that adds to this mystical feel. Casa de Pedra is a story of one man's obsession about found artifacts, but it's also now become a community center and a tourist attraction. Gustavo often opens his home to the public, sharing his work with visitors from around the globe, and it has become a focal point in the community, showing the connection between art, architecture, and personal history. Number 12. The Mushroom House, New York. So the Mushroom House, which is also known as the Pod House, is an iconic home that's in the town of Perrington near Rochester in New York. Conceived and designed by architect James Johnson in 1971, this unique place is a great example of organic architecture that draws direct inspiration from natural forms and structures. Its design, which is made up of 4 interconnected pods that look like mushrooms, makes it undoubtedly one of the most unusual homes in the United States. Set in a wooded area next to Powder Mills Park, the Mushroom House was originally built for couple Robert and Marguerite Antel, who wanted a living space that reflected their creative outlook. Johnson, influenced by the work of renowned architects like Antonio Gaudi and Frank Lloyd Wright, chose a fluid, naturalistic style for the home. The result is a building that stands out for its unique appearance, but also for the way it's been integrated with the natural environment. The foundation of the home is made from reinforced concrete, giving it the strength and stability to support the quirky, undulating forms of the pods, each of which is made from polyurethane, which is then coated with a layer of concrete stucco to simulate the texture and uneven surface of a mushroom. The roof of each pod is made from colorful stained glass, which fills the interior with colorful light, which enhances the organic feel of this place. Internally, the house has roughly 4,200 square feet of space, which is split across 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. Now, continuing the theme of organic architecture, there's custom-built furniture that curves along the walls, built-in seating, and custom cabinetry that follows the lines of the pod structure. The main living areas are elevated on the 2nd floor of the pods, offering wide views of the green surroundings through large, irregularly shaped windows that give the sensation that you're living within nature. Number 11. The Crocodile House, Abidjan, Ivory Coast. Most of us make a point in our lives to never find ourselves within the jaws of one of the world's most fearsome predators, but there's a place that's the entire point. The Crocodile House, which is in the Ivory Coast, is one of the most bizarre homes you'll find anywhere. Officially called La Maison des Reptiles, it was designed and built by the architect Musa Kallo for the artist Musa Changari. It's located in the upmarket neighborhood of Cocody and was built in the late 1980s and is exactly what its name suggests, a large-scale replica of a crocodile. Well, the structure's exterior is designed to mimic the shape and texture of a crocodile, complete with scales, eyes, and teeth, making it appear as though a giant reptilian is emerging from the ground. Inside, the house features a series of rooms that fit in with the shape of the crocodile's body. The layout includes a living room, bedroom, and an art studio, each of which are some of the strangest shaped rooms you'll ever see, as there was no compromise with the overall shape of the crocodile. The interior is, as a result, relatively modest and functional, designed to accommodate the basic needs of living and artistic creation. There's no denying that with the Crocodile House, the architect and owner stuck with their initial vision and made it a reality, even if it did mean the house isn't as practical as most people would want. Doubling as an art piece, though, it is one of a kind. Number 10. The Airplane House, Lebanon. The Airplane House, which is in the town of Miziara, Lebanon, is an unusual example of avant-garde architecture that's one of the strangest houses. It's a town that's well known for its eccentric building designs, with homes shaped like ancient Egyptian pyramids and others that draw inspiration from famous landmarks. So with this one, the designers had to pull out all the stops to make theirs stand out, and they managed to do so by building one in the form of an Airbus A380, the world's largest passenger airliner. Constructed by a Lebanese businessman who returned to his hometown after making his fortune abroad, the Airplane House was conceived as a tribute to his life's journey, including his travels around the globe. The design is a meticulous recreation of an Airbus, complete with wings and tail fins, and rests on a conventional building that serves as the base. Further detailed features from an aircraft, including rounded windows and an exterior fuselage with a metallic sheen of an airplane body, you wouldn't expect to take off anytime soon, but it definitely doesn't look like a house either. Inside, the Airplane House is designed to make the best use of space within the layout of an aircraft body. The interior has been cleverly adapted to the curved walls and aerodynamic shape, incorporating some sleek modern decor that's in line with the external theme. Each room is planned to keep up the illusion of being inside a real airplane, with a cockpit-like viewing area and cabin-class bedrooms. While it is used as a private residence, it's also become a local landmark and a symbol of Miziara's unique architectural culture. It attracts tourists and architecture enthusiasts from around the world who are keen to see how imaginative design can transform a traditional living space. It's just unlikely something like this will get approval from a homeowners association in your area anytime soon. Number 9. Chateau, Belgium. With so many derelict and abandoned buildings in urban areas, it's often far easier and cheaper just to demolish them and start fresh. But in doing so, you lose a piece of architectural history and the potential for a truly unique place to live. One of the best examples of adaptive reuse like this in architecture is the Chateau in Belgium. Originally built in 1941 as a water tower, the structure was transformed into a luxurious residence by Mauro Brigham of Bram Design Studio, and it reopened in 2008, breathing new life into a once utilitarian building. It's located just north of Brussels and had served its original purpose for decades before being decommissioned. The transformation of the almost 100-foot-high tower into a modern home was a huge challenge that was guided by the vision to maintain the industrial essence of the water tower while introducing a more modern element. The exterior of the Chateau is therefore keeping its imposing concrete facade, which typically is a feature of early 20th century industrial structures. The cylindrical shape of the tower, topped with its original water tank, is instantly recognizable, but the addition of large horizontal windows cut into the concrete provide panoramic views of the surrounding landscape. Inside, the transformation is even more striking, and to begin with, it was completely hollowed out to create a vertical loft space. This residence features 6 floors which are connected by a central spiral staircase that winds its way up through the building. And each floor is designed with a specific function in mind, such as the living area, bedrooms, and office space, with the topmost level under the dome of the water tank being converted into a panoramic terrace. As far as possible, the original features have been incorporated into the design of the interior too, such as the concrete walls inside that are left exposed. Since being completed, it's become an architectural icon in Belgium, and is celebrated for its sustainable approach to preservation and its successful integration of modern design within a historical context. With a growing trend towards sustainability in architecture, where old buildings are given new purposes instead of being demolished, it will hopefully inspire many more like it. Number 8. The Elephante Art House, Cornville, Arizona. The incredible Elephante Art House in Arizona has gone far beyond just being a home. It's a sprawling, immersive art installation that's become a visitor attraction in its own right. Created over 28 years by artist Michael Kahn and his partner Leda Levant Kahn, it was built without formal architectural plans and solely from salvaged materials and natural resources. The name Elephante reflects how it was inspired by the elephant-like shape of one of the original structures within the complex. The 3-acre property has several buildings, including Elephante, Hippodome, and Pipe Dreams, each of which is named for their distinctive shapes and whimsical styles. Michael Kahn, who started this project in the early 1980s, was inspired by his background in fine arts and desire to live in harmony with the surroundings. Without any intention of creating conventional living spaces, he focused on combining his artistic vision with functional aspects, which resulted in something quite unique. The construction process involved collecting discarded items such as broken tiles, stained glass, reclaimed wood, and even scraps from dumps, which were then artistically repurposed to build and decorate. The exteriors of the buildings are covered with mosaics made from ceramic shards of glass, creating colorful patterns that reflect sunlight. The interiors, too, are just as quirky, with sculpted walls that curve and flow organically, embedded with pieces of colored glass that filter light into a spectrum. Each room within the compound acts as a live-in gallery and are filled with Kahn sculptures, paintings, and tapestries. Since 2007, Elephante has been maintained by the nonprofit organization Elephante Limited, which aims to preserve the site as a cultural landmark and an art sanctuary. Efforts are ongoing to restore and conserve the structures, which have deteriorated over the years, but it's open to the public with guided tours that allow visitors to experience the surreal beauty of it all. Moving on to number 7, the Toilet House, South Korea. So houses usually provide everything the people in them need, with one important part being the bathroom. Typically designed to be discreet, there's a place in South Korea, though, that instead makes such a statement about the toilet that the entire structure is built in the shape of one. It's officially called Haewoojae, which translates to mean a place of sanctuary where one can solve one's worries, and was built in 2007. Now serving as a museum to highlight the global importance of sanitation and clean water, it was created by Sim Jae-duk, who is known as Mr. Toilet, and was the chairman of the organizing committee of the inaugural General Assembly of the World Toilet Association. Sim Jae-duk was born in a restroom, which inspired his lifelong commitment to improving sanitation conditions globally. This led him to establish the World Toilet Association, which aims to break the taboo around talking about toilets and to promote sanitation as a global agenda for health and wellness. To further his cause and mark the launch of the association, Sim decided to build a home that represented his life's work. The result was Haewuje, a structure uniquely designed in the shape of a toilet bowl. Designed by architect Goji Wong, the toilet house is a white concrete building with a central exhibition hall that resembles a toilet bowl from above, while the roof opens like a lid, and the surrounding grounds are designed to represent different aspects of a bathroom and the flushing process. The toilet house initially began as his private home for 2 years until his death in 2009, after which it was converted into a museum open to the public. The museum inside explores the history of toilets and the vital role proper sanitation plays in preventing disease, and it aims to educate visitors about the global sanitation crisis and the importance of clean, accessible toilets for all communities. It was Sim Jae-duk's hope that by making this a fun place, it would help encourage people to think more openly and discuss the often ignored issues of toilets and sanitation that are critical for public health. Number 6. Malator House, Wales. The Malator House, which is better known as the Teletubby House because of its grass-covered dome-like appearance that blends into the landscape, is a fascinating example of modern architecture that can be found among the Welsh coastline in Druidstone, Pembrokeshire. It was designed by architectural firm Future Systems for the Welsh politician Bob Marshall Andrews in 1998. This house has become an example of how contemporary design can coexist with natural surroundings. The Malator House uses the principles of earth-sheltered construction, where building elements are covered in turf, making them part of the landscape to minimize visual impact. This design approach not only ensures that the home maintains a low profile in its setting, but also makes use of the Earth's natural properties to create an energy-efficient space. It's got a single room that's divided by colored pods that house different domestic functions, such as the kitchen, bedroom, and bathrooms, and the rest of the space remains open and can be used as a living and dining area that looks out through a large uninterrupted glass exterior. This main window allows natural light to flood in, further reducing the energy requirements and providing natural warmth. On the outside, the house is almost entirely concealed, with only the front glass view and a small portion of the roof being visible above the turf-covered mound. This design not only preserves the natural line of the horizon, but it also protects the building against the harsh coastal winds and salt spray, making it sustainable and low maintenance. Once it was completed, it sparked discussions on how new homes can be built in sensitive landscapes without detracting from their natural beauty. The house challenges traditional ideas and residential design by disappearing into the landscape rather than dominating it, and by proving that this is possible, it will hopefully inspire other new houses in areas of outstanding beauty to take a similar approach. Number 5. The Kettle House, Texas. Located in Galveston, Texas, the Kettle House is one of the most distinctive structures in the state that has become a well-known landmark. Resembling a giant upside-down kettle, its origins and the initial intent of its design remain a topic of speculation and folklore, which has further established it as a place of mystery. Built in the 1950s, the house is made of steel and is believed to have been built by a local craftsman who worked with metal. Its design is simple, made up of an elliptical dome that sits on top of a flat base, which gives it the appearance of a massive steel cauldron or an inverted kettle. Over the years, its rustic, weathered appearance has only added to its aesthetic, and the mystery surrounding it has deepened. This all wasn't for show either, because it was surprisingly well made. It became clear that during Hurricane Ike in 2008, when it suffered minimal damage compared to other more traditionally built homes in the area. Perhaps the biggest surprise, though, is that inside it's more like you'd expect from a typical home of the 1950s. The space, although limited, was efficiently used, with a circular design theme in line with the exterior. Now, before recent renovations, the inside included a living area, a small kitchen, and a sleeping space, all arranged to fit the unique contours. In recent years, the Kettle House has undergone significant renovations in order to preserve its form while modernizing its features. This has ensured that it remains a safe site for visitors and potentially a livable space, with modern amenities and structural reinforcements. Number 4. Futuro, Finland. So there's a number of UFO-like houses that can be seen across the world, but the most unique and probably the most interesting design of all is the otherworldly Futuro house, which has been designed and built by the Finnish architect Matti Suurinen in 1968. This futuristic flying saucer-shaped prefab house was built during the time of the post-war optimism and excitement about the space age, and was intended to primarily be a ski cabin that would be easy to construct in rough terrain. Now, using new materials for the time, it was made from fiberglass reinforced polyester, which is both lightweight and durable. Its elliptical shape measures approximately 26 feet in diameter and about 13 feet high, which in total provides a living area of around 270 square feet. Now, the structure could, therefore, be transported to the site and assembled on the spot, making it an ideal solution for remote locations. The design features a hatch entrance, oval windows, and an interior that maximizes the use of space through a minimalist layout. The interior was designed to be compact but comfortable, capable of accommodating up to 8 people. It included seating areas that doubled as sleeping spaces, a small kitchenette, a bathroom, and a changing area, and the panoramic windows not only lit the space with natural light, but also offered wide views of the surroundings, connecting those inside with nature. The whole idea was that these could be built in large numbers and provide a new way of temporary living. It proved to be a commercial failure, though, in large part due to the oil crisis in the 70s that saw a huge increase in the cost of plastics and made the production of these houses economically unfeasible. In the end, only about 100 of them were ever built, and today they're considered collectibles, with remaining examples found in various states of preservation or decay around the world. Some have been restored and repurposed as museums, guest houses, or promotional tools, while others remain private residences. Number 3. Dar al-Hajar, Yemen. So Dar al-Hajar, which translates to mean the stone house, which is a famous landmark in Yemen that can be found on top of a rock formation in Wadi Dahur, which is a lush valley just north of the country's capital city. This 5-story building, which was constructed in the 1930s, was originally the summer residence of Imam Yahya, the ruler of Yemen at the time, and has since become a symbol of Yemeni culture and heritage. The palace's design takes inspiration from traditional techniques known for its unique blend of functionality and aesthetic. Now, its structure is integrated seamlessly with the rock on which it's built, giving the impression that the building itself is part of the boulder. From a distance, it looks like it's a vertical extension of the rock, rising with its multiple levels, each decorated with white plaster and stained glass windows. The building is crowned with flat roofs and features Yemeni-style windows, which have stained glass that filters light into brilliant patterns. The facade is a stunning example of the geometric precision and artistry of Islamic architecture, with patterns and shapes that repeat. Inside, there's a maze of rooms and halls that are connected by staircases that rise along the sides of the rock. Each floor has a specific function, with living quarters, guest rooms, and reception areas that provide views of the valley. The deep windows and numerous balconies are cleverly positioned to capture the cool breezes, showing the traditional Yemeni techniques of passive cooling strategies for this arid climate. Now, historically, Dar al-Hajar has been an important place in Yemen, as during Imam Yahya's reign, it was a retreat from the heat of the summer and a venue for hosting important guests. Sadly, though, the building is now at risk, like many other historical sites in the country, because of the ongoing conflicts. For now, though, it stands as a symbol of resilience and beauty, much like the country, and hopefully it will continue to do so for many years. Number 2. The Earth House Estate, Lettenstrasse, Switzerland. This house in Switzerland is a bizarre-looking residential development that's all about sustainable architecture and living. It was designed by the renowned Swiss architect Peter Vetsch, and the estate is made up of 9 earth houses that have been built into the natural landscape and were designed to blend seamlessly with the environment. Earth houses like these, or Erdhäuser as they're known in German, are constructed using a technique that involves burying the building partially or completely underground. At this example, each home is uniquely designed with organic, flowing shapes that mimic natural forms, and the roofs of these houses are covered with earth and greenery, which not only insulates the buildings but reduces heating and cooling costs. The interior of each is an estate surprisingly spacious, filled with natural light, and the effect is achieved through the use of skylights and glazing that allows sunlight to reach into the living spaces. The interiors have a free-flowing, open-plan design that increases the sense of space and continuity between the different areas. Thermal efficiency here was a key focus in the design philosophy, and the earth that covers the houses provides substantial thermal mass, meaning it absorbs and retains heat, and as a result regulated the interior temperature throughout the year. Featuring shared spaces that encourage social interaction among residents, while also preserving your privacy. Each house also has its own private garden, which is on the green roof, and there are communal paths and green spaces designed to foster a sense of community. From the start, the Earth House estate set out to challenge conventional notions of what residential neighborhoods can look like. Instead of the typical cookie-cutter development, it offers a model for housing that's both environmentally integrated and aesthetically pretty interesting. And while unique right now, it could well become a blueprint for further developments. Number 1. Casa de los Milagros, Mexico. Located on the outskirts of Veracruz, the Casa de los Milagros is a strange-looking structure that you wouldn't initially think was a house. Designed by the architect Danilo Veras Godoy and completed in the early 21st century, it's a blend of modern design principles with traditional Mexican elements. Now, the Casa de los Milagros, which translates to mean House of Miracles, is in an area that's known for its rolling hills and dense foliage, which are integral to the building's overall impact. Godoy's approach was deeply influenced by the philosophy of organic architecture, where buildings are in sync with their environment, as if they're a natural extension of the landscape. One of the most important features here is its use of local materials. Godoy chose resources such as volcanic stone and native woods, which not only provide the house with an earthy charm, but also promote sustainability. The materials were all sourced locally, reducing the environmental impact associated with transportation and support local industries. Large glass windows and sliding doors open up to expansive terraces and gardens, blurring the lines between the built environment and nature. Now, that design choice not only enhances the aesthetic appeal of the house, but it also optimizes natural light and ventilation. Inside, the house features a minimalist decor that complements its overall style. The color palette is dominated by earthy tones that reflect the external environment, creating a calming feeling. And Godoy's attention to detail can be seen in every element, from the custom-designed furniture that fits perfectly into the spaces to the placement of the windows that frame the views of the surrounding landscape. Sustainability was, of course, also another important factor of the design, and in addition to the use of local materials, the house incorporates green tech, such as solar panels and rainwater harvesting. Standing as a creative example of how contemporary design can respect and enhance the natural beauty and traditions of a region, the Casa de los Milagros has added a significant landmark to the landscape, and it's also inspired a new generation of architects and designers to think creatively about the role of architecture in tandem with the environment, and how things always don't have to be the same. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you next time. Thank you to our channel members.